Hello, Serge here from the back tee. We have a question here from Mike O'Shea, and in his email address it has Ireland, so I guess we have ourselves a golfer in Ireland that's writing this question. Mike, you ask a really good question, and hopefully I can clarify this up for you and everybody else who might be thinking the same problem, the same issue, and help us all out here. Mike asks, I get the idea of the club going into the catcher's mitt and straight up the tree to the club being vertical. You are taking the club head in hands without changing the wrist angle in vertical or to horizontal, to the toe being up and the club head in the mitt, then straight up. His question is, what is the path on the way down? Should it come straight down to the mitt and then turn the hands over? I'm really confused here. Okay, Mike, let's see if we can't clarify this. If you were to swing your hands skipping a rock, just skipping a rock, and you lift the hand straight up and straight through, right? Basically, I would think you could say that you're pretty much swinging on the same plane. Well, the actual true plane in a golf swing is there's a slight change in a transition, but per se, I feel like I swing exactly on the same inclined or tilted plane. So when I stand here and I have trying to hit the ball, I believe planes an angle from the ball through the neck, resting on the shoulders, and once I get into about the catcher's mitt position, my forward arm, which would be my left arm, is as I raise it up, it's on that plane. So I can make a plane in my mind, and it's lifting up on that plane, but the club goes through it. So my club is straight up, but my arm is on that. It starts down on it until I just about, right about here, it starts to come off as I start rotating, as my hips start to turn, and it pulls, and my hands and arms are swinging to impact where the arms start straightening out, so they're a little off it again. And then to get back on this side in a forward swing, I strike the ball square into the forward catcher's mitt, and right about here is where the trailing arm, the back arm, in my case the right arm, starts going straight up that exact same plane on this side, where the club will go through it, but as the arm travels up on it. So in my mind, I feel like I swing exactly on the same plane. I feel like I'm standing here and I can take it in the mitt and up the tree, comes down to impact, and in the mitt and up the tree. I feel like I can stand here and swing straight up and down with both hands on the club, and I'm retracing the same path. And it's so close, it's difficult to explain or be able to show it on this porch, but that's what's really happening. The only place where there's a big change is when I'm at the top and I do the lateral shift, as you can see from this position, as I do the lateral shift, as the lower body runs away from the upper body tilts backwards. Dr. Armstrong, my mentor, says he calls that the secondary spine angle tilt. Well, what happens is when I do that secondary spine angle tilt, that's what actually keeps my head and upper body behind the ball. So as I approach that I'm behind the ball, so the arms have the room to extend into impact, especially the rear arm. As you can see, when I do that, from here, the club tends to drop a little bit. So it gets pulled inside, and immediately right about this position where the club head reaches here, I'm exactly right back on the same plane, all the way up, all the way to the finish. So there's that little bit of loop there, and that's where I've talked many times about how when the club loops, my right hand and forearm are doing everything they can to not let it loop too much, because if I let that club drop in laid off and too deep inside, there'll have to be a wicked rotation over here, and you could hit everything from bouncing the club off before the ball to topping it, to releasing into it toe down and hitting pulls and hooks and chunks or whatever. So you have to control that. So that's how in my mind, I know there's this slight angle change. I know the club rotates, gets pulled a little inside, but in my mind, when that's happening, I'm up and I'm straight down. In the mitt, up the tree, straight down, and in the mitt and up the tree on that side. And I feel like I'm just standing here and swinging my club just like this. Okay? So I think if you could feel like you're swinging back and up and down and back up on the same plane, and knowing that that's going to happen a little bit, and you really got to make sure that your hands, and especially your lower hand on the club, like for me, my right hand is really maintaining that I'm fighting every bit I can, that club laying off. you'll be hitting some good shots. And just like on this side, once you start going through with an explosive hit, when that club reaches toe up on that side, you better have your hands, and again, I use my lower hand to make sure I don't let it just keep going that way where it goes around. And as we see most very much on the tours today, most of the players are finishing with their palm down. We want to finish with our palms up in here and straight down, so we're close to the air and straight down, because our second secret is palms perpendicular to the ground throughout the swing. When you stand up erect, and even if you swing from here, your palms will stay relatively perpendicular to the ground, not palm down, and that's the way they explode to a square finish at impact. So I hope that really helps you out a lot here, and Mike and explains this. One path is easier to swing than two, and so control your golf club, and you'll hit good shots trying to swing on the same plane. So again, hope that helps you all out, and any questions, send them to the blog and we'll try to answer them for you, and that's what we're doing here. So from the back porch, that's it for Don for today, and I'll be talking to you all soon.